listening to Real Coaching Radio TV, building a positive network.
Are you in the entertainment industry? If you answered yes and you want to promote yourself, your passion, and profession, check out Creative Independent Artist magazines at CIAartists.com, endorsed by Kids Talk Foundation worldwide. Today's podcast is brought to you by Kids Talk Foundation, a global nonprofit organization providing youth advocacy, television programming, and training services in the United States, along with comprehensive medical and educational services for the developing world, most recently in Kenya, Africa, where Kids Talk Foundation provides a feeding program, medical care, and educational services to over 1,300 young people each day. Please help our youth and place your donation. Go to www.kidstalk.org.
Welcome to the Mind, Body, and Soul Show on Real Coaching Radio Network. How would you like to attempt to demystify with us the realms of the mind, body, and soul to bring you a more holistic and balanced way of living? Healthier in all realms of the psyche, the spirit, and the body. Here is your host and executive producer, Coach Steve Tofts.
Yes, and welcome to the Mind, Body, and Soul Show, everybody, on this beautiful Thursday afternoon on Real Coaching Radio and TV Network, soon to be Conscious Evolution Media, starting the 1st of 2013. And we'd like to, of course, I'm your host, Coach Steve Toth, the founder of Real Coaching Radio and TV Network, and your host, and our guest today is the beautiful Driva Olfars-Dottir. Did I do that right?
Yeah, that was pretty good. Thanks. Thanks for having me, Steve.
You're very welcome. I'm not sure. Well, no, I'm sure that I'm not the only one that's challenged by both of your names.
Oh, definitely. I've heard a lot of variations of that name over the years.
Yeah, well, this is actually one way you can be different from the rest of us.
That's right. That's right. It definitely sets me apart.
Outside of the box. Yeah, so I also wanted to say that Driva is a life balance coach, which is really fantastic because the foundation of our entire network, including the Living Consciously TV show on cable television, is founded based on life balance. So I'm very much looking forward to having this dialogue with you this afternoon. So if I removed the title Life Balance Coach and all the other names anybody has ever called you, including girlfriend, mother, wife, colleague, and the list can go on, but if I removed all of those, what's left? Who is Driva?
Well, I have to tell you, my answer is going to be a little bit selfish, I think, because I look at myself as somebody who loves to help. That's where I'm in my element, and I think I do it for me. So when I remove all of those masks that I have, the mother, the work-life balance coach, the woman, the wife, or whatever I am, I think deep down inside who I am, what my passion is helping others. That's it. That's all.
Okay, fantastic. So what I'm curious about, very much so, is that you and thousands of other women that have come through this network are interested in working with other women.
Right.
Which to me is very interesting because we don't have men coming through this network wanting to work with men. Why do you think that is?
I really don't know. In fact, I find this really interesting because, I'm more woman focused. The work-life balance coach for mompreneurs, and I market mostly to women, but I do get a lot of men contacting me because they want the same type of thing. I think it might be just because they feel that women are a little bit more open. I don't know why they would shy away from speaking to other men about it. Maybe they just feel it's a little bit intimidating. They don't want to talk about not being able to handle everything at home, or not being able to do it all. What do you think?
Yeah. Well, I think I think there are a number of reasons. One of them, which is men have traditionally been the ones that played a role in terms of providing security, income, and also playing those roles in corporate America or elsewhere in the world, in business, and in politics, in government, and in anything else. Men has been in control. And ever since the women's movement, now we're going on decades, it's been shifting. and now they're noticing that women can, do pretty much everything men can, right? Can you think of anything right now? There's nothing perfect than asking a woman this. Can you think of anything that a woman cannot do that a man can?
No, I really can't. I think that we can basically do everything that men can do, but I also think that men can do everything women can do. I mean, if we cut out all the biological factors that would prohibit us from doing those things, but I mean, even with today's technology, I think we can do pretty much everything. And what you were saying with, men have always held this place of power, really. I mean, traditionally, you used to be the woman at home, the man out working, and I think that with this shift, we're seeing two different types of people. The men are still feeling this place of power. They feel like they have to be able to control everything, to support the home and to support the family and take care of their family, take care of their wives and children. Whereas the women, we've always kind of been able to see ourselves as, I guess maybe we see ourselves a little bit more vulnerable. I wouldn't say we're vulnerable, but I would say that we're able to look down deep inside and see what it is we need to change and how we want to help ourselves. And I think that we're a little bit more apt at seeing our flaws. Okay, now don't go there. Did I just say that out loud?
Okay, but here's the thing.
Fear of vulnerability.
Here's the thing. I think women are making a mistake the way they're going about claiming their power. Because what they're doing the same thing men did, which is left women out. And now you women are doing the same thing, leaving men out. And the reason I'm saying this is because what I've seen on our network for the last 9 years, there are a lot of women that only want to work with women, leaving men out. Now, this doesn't help because you're all about life balance. You're all about balance. This is out of balance.
Oh, and I agree. Sense? And in fact, I've seriously been thinking of starting a men's page for the men that contact me because I do find that they're left out. And, as coaches, we're encouraged to niche ourselves almost to until we can't niche ourselves anymore. And I just find that when you do that, you really are leaving out a lot of the people out there that do need help. And in fact, it's funny that you'd say that. It's because I sent out a special email just for the men just last month. And I said, okay, I've been a little bit sexist here. I've always been gearing this out to the women, but here's one for the men. And
fantastic. I encourage you to continue to do that, and I congratulate you because I also noticed at the beginning of the women's movement that. And it continued on in corporate America. I spent a lot of years in corporate America, and I noticed that the way women thought that they could be like men is like dressing like men, talking like men, acting like men, and that doesn't work. There is nothing I love more, Driva, than a powerful woman that can remain to be feminine.
Oh, I agree. And in fact, I've worked in corporate Iceland, and I don't think that women are like men, not at all. And I think that you lose a little bit something when you put yourself in that role. I like being a woman. I don't want to be a man.
Yes. I think men should love being a man, and women should love being a woman, and we should continue to work together in this balance to figure out who we really are, not just individually, but who we are together, because there's still a lot of how do I say this, issues and problems between men and women. We're still not getting each other. Would you agree?
I totally agree. And this is
after
something
thousands
that
of years.
This is something I work on with my clients, is the relationship part of it, because you can't have balance when you don't, when you're not able to work with your relationships, and when you don't know who you are in your relationship. And I think that that's extremely important. And being able to accept others for who they are, and accepting yourself for who you are.
Yes, absolutely. And of course, there are countries that we can go to today where if you sit down in a restaurant, let's say there is two of my male colleagues and you, Driva, are with me, the three men will get, a menu, and you won't.
Yeah.
and that's sad. The world, especially the third world countries, still have a lot of growth to do in this area.
Even in modern countries, I think that there's still some growth to do. I went to go buy a car the other day, and the car dealer basically told me, well, you don't really know anything. You were probably sent here because you were basically sent here just to pick something that's pretty. Do you know what I mean? I was pretty insulted, but I thought, obviously this person needs to do a little bit of growing up, but it still happens today.
Yeah, I agree with you. So you have a very, very interesting practice. You're working with primarily moms who are also entrepreneurs and juggling a lot of other things all at the same time. So I would say you work with a lot of superwomen.
That's right. Well, we think we're superwomen. We think we can do it all. And like we were talking about before, even with the men, they think they can do it all. But when it comes right down to it, sometimes we need a little bit of help, and sometimes we need a little bit of perspective to see what's important in our lives.
Yeah, absolutely. So why is it, Driva, that a lot of people, not just women but men also, are so confused and lost out there? And this is an important time to talk about this because it's the end of 2012 and a new year is coming, a whole new era is coming. What's up with all this, that people are just not knowing who they are and not focused? They basically go for anything that's coming at them, from the outside world. What's up with that?
Yeah, you know what? I think as we're growing up and as we change into adults, we have so much noise coming from every direction. We forget who we are and what we want. If you ask the average adult, what do you want? I mean, they really don't know. Where do they want to be in 5 years? They don't know. We don't dream anymore. We don't have goals anymore. We don't sit down and decide what's really important to me. We go out and we work our butts off to support our family, and then we don't see them. What really is important to us is our family. We've been so conditioned that money or power or having it all is the most important thing, when really what we really want inside is we want meaningful relationships. We want to spend time with ourselves. We want to feel like we're in control. We want a stress-free life. We want to be happy, and happiness isn't created from money. Really, money isn't really a big factor. What's a big factor is our relationships, our mindset, our self-confidence. Our plan. Do we have a plan in our life? Do we know what we want? And when we have these things down pat, that's when we start to really be able to see what's important to us in our lives. And I think that's the problem. We just don't know what we want. How do we get it then?
Yeah, interesting. So you're going to love this, because when I first started this network 9 years ago, I used to start every one of my shows by asking these questions. Who are you? Why did you come here? What do you want? And how are you going to get what you want? And I got so much silence, and silence doesn't work in media, that I I was forced to stop asking those questions. So the only one that remained is the one that I asked you earlier in the show at the beginning, which is, who are you really? and it seems that most people are able to handle that question somehow. So how can you help the viewers, especially right now, because we are being featured on Stickem right now, which is one of our networks that we put our shows up live right now. So how could you assist people? How can they find out who are they really, and why is that important?
Well, okay. One thing that they can do is they can sit down with a piece of paper and a pen, and they can just write down everything that they want. All their goals, just let their brain go crazy. Write down everything that they want, 5 minutes. And then they can sit down and read it and discover who they are and what they want. Because sometimes when we don't think and we just write, then we get to see things that we didn't really know that we wanted. You know, sometimes it'll start off with, oh, you know, I want this great job, or, oh, I want this car, and then at the end of the list it says, you know what, I just want people to love me. You know what, I just want meaningful moments with my children, or you know what, I just want to know who I am. And it's through that kind of discovery that they begin to feel better about themselves. Because, you know, self-confidence, it starts from within. You have to know who you are to feel confident about who you are.
And how is being who you are connected to what your values are?
Well, I think that your values are integral in who you are, because if you don't know what your values are, if you don't know what's important to you, then how are you supposed to know who you are and what's important to you? It's like the chicken and the egg. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I would say you're absolutely correct. Most people don't go through this exercise. They have a blind spot to it.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting? Because once this unfolds for people, it actually, in my experience, becomes the screen which you screen everything that's coming at you from the outside world. Because the fact that if you don't have a screen, everything is getting in. So chaos is getting in, and you become a victim. What do you think about that?
Well, I think you're absolutely right. And one of the things that I do is I have one of my products is a life plan, and I lead my clients through a set of a value sheet, so they learn what their values are in order for them to figure out what's next, so what they want in their life. And I think that that's one of the most important things is, you know, figuring out what you want in your life and placing your values there so you can gauge. So you take your values, say, okay, you know what, most important thing to me is my family, or let's say money. What's the most
important thing to you, Driva?
What's that?
What's the most important thing to you?
I think the most important thing to do is to know your values and know what
you
want.
To you. What is it to you?
Oh, what do I want? Are you asking me?
What's the most important? Yes, because this network, believe it or not, is based on walking the talk. Highly unusual. I know. But
okay.
I would like you to share with the viewers what is most important to you.
Okay, one of the most important thing to me is to live my life from a place of love instead of a place of fear, because I find that all of the challenges that I have in my life come because I'm afraid of something. You know, I don't like something, or I'm angry with something, or I'm unhappy with something. It's because I'm afraid of something within myself. So that's number one. Number two is I want to
okay, hang on. A couple of things. One is we're just being featured on Block TV, so it's the second network we're being featured on. So that means we're on the front page of these networks, and we may have something important to say, is why we're getting featured. So let's make it worthwhile for all the viewers. So you were saying that what's number one for you in terms of importance is that you operate from love, not from fear. Well, that's easier said than done. So I need you to expand a little bit. What do you do, or how do you notice when you're not in love? The experience and the energy of love. How do you notice it? Or are you always in the experience of love?
I think that that's an end goal. Mindset is extremely important, and this is one of the things that I think has to do with living in a place of love rather than fear, is changing your mindset. And it's a process. Every day I work on my mindset, and I think that that's
so
something.
What do you do specifically? How do you notice, or do you, when you're not in love of yourself and others? When you're not, other words, love equals being connected to who you are, to yourself, and to the rest of the planet. So when you're not connected, you are in fear, and when you're in fear, you're disconnected. You're disconnected from yourself, and you're disconnected from the rest of the planet. So when you're disconnected, what are you connected to? I'm just doing this exercise for the benefit of the viewers.
Yeah, I think when you're disconnected,
awesome.
Then you're connected to negativity. I mean, that's when you start feeling.
Which is what?
Which is fear.
Where does and where does that come from?
Fear comes from the ego. It comes from within.
There you go.
And I believe that that's something that we can change through positive thinking, through meditation.
Well, I'm not sure we can change it. We can manage it.
Yeah, exactly.
So it doesn't get to drive the bus. So we get to be in control. Who is we? The one I've been calling it recently as the new self. And it's been called many things. Christ consciousness, it's been called the higher self, it's been called your spirit. Doesn't matter what we call it, but it's the same thing.
Yeah.
So it's beautiful that we can have this dialogue because I know that you get everything I'm saying. I can tell. I'm so connected to you that I know that I can freely lead the conversation or ask a question, and I know I'm going to get the true answer.
Well,
Is that cool?
Yeah, it is. I connected right from the beginning.
Yeah. So let's continue. So help the viewers, because we got now thousands of them. How do you notice when you're not connected? Do you notice something in your body?
Yeah, definitely. When you're not connected, you can feel ill in your body. You can feel tired. You can feel fatigue. You can feel irritated, angry, frustrated, frightened. You have a negativity within you. You just have a sense of not feeling well. Do you agree?
Well, I think it's different for different people. So where I notice it in my stomach. When something is off, and I know that, and how I know something is off is how I'm responding to something, and I notice that I'm reacting. When I'm reacting, so when we connect it to ourselves, to our love energy, there is no reaction. Right. Everything is flowing. Everything is beautiful. We're happy. Everything has more colors. Everything has better, it has HD sound, all those things. And when we're not, it's no longer in stereo. It's no longer in color. It's in black and white. And I feel it in my stomach that something is off. Now, if I notice it, and I've been training myself to notice it, I know how to get back into getting connected. Now, there are still times when I'm not noticing, and then I am in deep doo-doo. Because if I'm not noticing, and who's I? The new self, the one that can observe the ego. If my new self is not noticing, that means my ego just took over 100%.
Yeah.
And I'm in deep doo-doo. Then I rely on my colleagues, my friends, people that know me, to say something to see if I can then notice. If they're noticing it, then there is a higher chance that I can do something about it.
Yeah, you're checking yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I find a good trick is just when you notice you're not in that moment is feel grateful. Take a few seconds to feel grateful about the things that you have around you and your life in general.
Yes, it's however difficult to do when we are disconnected. I have also noticed that when we're connected to our energy of love and each other, we regenerate ourselves. And what I mean by that is we regenerate our bodies. We actually do not age. I don't want to tell you how old I am, because you would be freaked out. But I know within my heart that I'm constantly regenerating my body. Not just, I mean, everything. You know, my skin, my brain. I'm regenerating everything. When we're disconnected from our love energy, we are degenerating all of our bodies. And that's how we get cancer. That's how we get ill. So we actually make ourselves, I truly believe this, we make ourselves sick because our bodies and homeostasis is no longer able to cope with the fact that we're no longer coping. It's too much. And where I found that this is all, where all the roads are going, is managing our emotions. I'm finding, and this should be a very interesting dialogue between you and me, because my experience is most men, and I used to be that way, I didn't realize that I wasn't my emotions and I wasn't my feelings. When I felt emotions and feelings, I became them. Does this make sense?
Yeah, you couldn't separate yourself?
I couldn't. Yeah, when I was not awake and not conscious.
Right.
And I think this is why relationships get into so much trouble, and that's why we have such a high rate of divorce, is because people become their emotions and feelings because they don't know how to manage it.
That's right. They can't separate themselves from the way they feel.
Yes.
They don't understand that that's just a cause from
And
the
feeling,
way that they think.
Yeah, a feeling, an emotion is just an object. It's not even real. We're making it up.
Yeah, it comes straight from the brain. You know, you got to think it before you feel it.
Yes. I love it how much you get this conversation. So once you notice it, so how do you, and this is again, it's going to help all the thousands of people that are viewing right now.
Right.
Once you notice that you're not connected, how do you, Driva, get back into your energy of love?
Well, I do a few things. When I realize that I'm not connected, like I said before, I try to go into a place of gratitude. I also have affirmations that I say to myself, and I check what I'm thinking. So I listen to the voice in my head, and then I ask questions. Is that true? You know, is that how I really want to feel? Is that who I want to be? Is what I'm thinking the person that I want to be right now? And if it's not, then I turn it around and I change it. So because every thought that you have a choice whether or not you're going to listen to it. If you don't like it, change it.
Very good. I actually do something very, very similar. I just want to share it because it's slightly different, and you know, people may be attracted to how you do it. People may be attracted to how I do it. So I want to help as many people as we can. So how I do it is I ask the question, is what I am about to say or do congruent with my new self or my higher self, which is wants the best for me and everybody else? Once I ask that question cannot be answered by the ego.
No, not at all. And you know, it's funny that you say that because I was listening to an audio tape, I think it was Tony Robbins the other day, where he said something like, you know, if you want to change your life, you got to start right now. Start right now. So that means you're thinking as well. Is what I'm thinking right now who I want to be in the future?
Yes, absolutely. And all, recognizing that the future is great, but it hasn't happened yet.
That's right.
The past is fantastic to get wisdom from, but it's in the past. And the only thing that we really have, and this is my number one challenge for everybody out there that's watching right now, is the only thing that we have is the right now, the present moment. Like I am having this incredible dialogue with Riva, and this is all I have right now. All the stuff that may happen in the future and happen in the past, right now, it doesn't matter. Because the only thing we have is the right now, and the right now, and the next moment, and the next moment, and the next moment. And if people can learn how to live there, guess what happens?
That's when you start
Anything.
feeling, happiness within yourself.
Yes, and anything is possible from this place, because there's no restraint from the past or from the future. All there is right now, and when we're connected to who we really are truly as an amazing human being. I believe that every human being on this planet is absolutely amazing, except and that they all have what I have and what you have. Is just in a lot of people is just a very small flame, and they forgot. They used to know it when we were all born. You know how I know? Because I have 3 kids and 5 grandkids, pretty soon 6. And and I witnessed their birth, and I know in my heart what it's like to be born as a brand new human being. We're very precious. We're full of love. We don't know all this other garbage that we later learn.
No. We're pure.
Unfortunately, growing up and becoming an adult, we forget. And I just want to remind people that that's not gone. Matter of fact, if people can connect to who they really are, which is what you were talking about at the beginning of the show, that is the key to get back there to that flame.
Right.
Because when we do what we love and what we're passionate about, all of a sudden, we're happy. And everything in our lives works. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. And I mean, who said we weren't allowed to do what we're passionate about? Isn't that what life is about? Isn't it about finding your passion and making a life around that?
Yes, that is what life is all about. That is what I'm about. I mean, my passion is media, and I'm doing it every day, and it's not work. It's something I love to do, and I love to have conversations and dialogues. I love to be in this conversation because, for me, this is the only way that I know, and it may not be the only way, but this is the only way I know, after all the searching I've done for the last 30-some years. I need to start adding more and more years. and I looked for this solution out there in the world. And it's not out there, Jiva, is it?
It's within. That's for sure.
Within.
It's within yourself. And the only way to find it is to go in there and look for it and dig it out.
Yes. Yes. I love the way you said that. So people, there are a lot of seekers out there, and I used to be one. You can stop seeking anytime you're ready because you're not going to find it. There's lots of shiny objects out there. There's always another video, another book, another seminar you can go to. But guess what? All that stuff that I ever done, I did it so that it would get me to a place where I would finally say, no more. I'm going to go look inside for the first time in my life. And that's when my life has completely changed. Did it happen for you the same way?
Yeah, well, I had a journey of self-discovery for sure. But when you said that, it made me think, I think that's the point where people say, you know what, I'm good enough. I'm good enough, and I'm going to start getting to know me because I want to like me. Mm-hmm. And in my journey of self-discovery, I I think I woke up one day and I said, you know what? I don't like where I am, and I'm going to change where I am, and that's it. There is no going back. There's only going forward, and I'll take it one day at a time, and that's what I've done.
Yeah, it's actually one moment at a time, 1 minute, 1 hour, 1 week, 1 month. It is like that. And it's interesting because in this culture, and you're not in the American culture, but in this culture, everybody wants everything like right now. And I say, okay, you can have everything right now. All you got to do is learn how to live in the present moment. And you can have whatever you want right now. You can manifest anything when you're in the present moment, because that's consciousness for me.
I agree. In fact, I've had so much manifesting this week that it scared me. I'm at the point where I'm afraid to think.
And it's actually not even so let me say that is that thinking is actually not to our benefit.
I tend to agree with you there sometimes. I think especially if we're letting our thoughts run loose, I think we need to check what we think and purposely think.
Yeah, what's to our benefit is to be connected to who we really are and to be in the present moment. That's to our benefit in more ways than I could probably describe it. And I wanted to say something about disconnectedness and connectedness. Just one more thing, because I think people, since we got thousands of people on the network, people may be able to get connected to this. So, and this is really simple. It's like, it's not a secret. It's just a key. There are no secrets, as far as I can tell. There's only things that we don't know or we haven't considered, like asking the question, what do I know that I don't know, or what I don't know that I know? Does that make sense?
Of course it does, because we often hide things from ourselves because we don't want to admit what's really going on deep down inside. We make up a lot of excuses. That's why we're so busy doing busy work all day long. It's so that we don't really have to figure out what we want.
Yeah. So here's the key. It's only 4 things, and it's connected to the mind. And I'm sure you heard a lot of things these days, because I have, about mind and balancing the mind, which is also your business's life balance. So also balancing the mind is congruent with your business. So this is really about the input to the mind and the output. So the input begins with seeing and viewing the world the way we see the world. So right now we're viewing this television show the way we normally view a television show. Then based on what we're viewing, we will have feelings that will come up. Remember, we talked about this, right? And so this is the input into our mind. So then the output of the mind is, based on what we feel and what we see, we're going to say something, right? So first, anything that we have ever created in this reality, like you said it earlier on the show, begins with a thought, right? Yeah. So you have to see it in your mind's eye, then you have to put emotions, feelings to it, then it becomes a material thing. And it begins to become a material thing by you saying something. Like, you have to bring it into the world by speaking it. No wonder I'm in this business, right? Of media.
That's right.
So you speak it. So you speak it from what you felt and what you saw. Then from speaking it, and this is what The Secret has left out, you got to move into action. You got to do something. If you don't do anything with what you said, what you felt, and what you saw, guess what? Nothing will happen. Right?
Yeah, you gotta go out there running. You know, you just gotta start immediately and take one step towards your goal.
Yes, and what I found, Driva, is when you see what you see, you feel what you see, and you say what you felt and what you saw, and then from that you do what you said, what you felt, and what you saw. And those four things are completely congruent and connected. Who you are as a magnificent human being. Remember, we talked about this at the beginning. It's really important to know who you are. When all four things are connected to that, magic happens. The energy is vibrating so high, and this is what Hollywood does. This is how good movies are made. The actors know this. Hollywood know how to play this game.
Yeah.
And you're sitting in the theater on the edge of your seat and going, oh my God, I'm in the movie. How could that happen? Because they create it in the present moment, and it's so real that you become part of the movie, right? That's
right.
How we know we have a movie that's going to get an Academy Awards, and we can do it too. So that's called being connected. So what is it? Being disconnected, and we all know these people. So listen to this, it's really easy. So the people that are disconnected, meaning that they're in their egos and they're pretending most of their lives, they see the world, they do not allow to feel their feelings. They push it under the rug.
Yeah.
Then they're going to say something based on what they don't want to feel and see, and they're going to do something that has nothing to do with what they said, what they felt, and what they saw. Do you know these people?
Yeah, they live in, they react, and they live in denial, and they have negative feelings, and they have a negative energy around them. They're the kind of people that you want to avoid. We don't want to be those kind of people.
Well, and I want to make sure that this is not, that doesn't come across as judgment.
Oh, definitely not.
On these people. Because if these people knew better, and remember I used to be one of those people, and I didn't know any better, but if they knew better, they would do something different, but they don't, unfortunately.
I think that eventually everyone has the chance to get to that place of self-discovery.
Yes.
And I mean,
yes.
But that's the beauty of it. It's going from that place, having the opportunity to have self-discovery, and then exploring that self-discovery. I mean, the journey in itself is beautiful.
Absolutely. So, all right. So, let's talk a little bit more about what you do for moms.
Sure.
And how you can really help them.
All right. Well, what I do is I'm a work-life balance coach for mompreneurs. But I mean, I can also do coaching for entrepreneurial parents or for anyone who's working in a difficult job and wants to balance their life and home life. Oftentimes that involves when people feel stressed, they're overwhelmed, they have an endless to-do list and they don't know how to deal with it. They find that they have lack of focus, maybe unhappiness, depression, or just a general feeling like they're not happy with their lives. Especially if they want something in their life and they just don't know how to get it, then it's a really good idea to go in there and get some coaching done so that they can get some focus in their lives. I have a 360 degree coaching program, so I work on 5 factors in their life. I work on the life plan, where I help them to find a solid plan that they can construct for their life. I also go into relationships to work on the relationships both with their friends, their family, the people around them, the people they work with, maybe even the relationship with themselves. We work on time management because that's really important when you're working on a work-life balance. And self-confidence, because that seems to be a really big problem out there, Steve, is self-confidence. I get a lot of requests about that one, as well as mindset. And I believe that mindset is, it's a very broad thing to talk about, because in our mindset, it's about who we are, what we want, where we want to go, having the confidence to get it. And so I believe that that's a very important factor.
But where do you think self-confidence comes from?
Self-confidence, I believe that comes from looking at what you've done in the past and appreciating it and giving yourself a little bit of, I guess, props for that. If you look at everything that you've done and you feel you haven't done it well, then of course you're not going to have any self-confidence it takes building up. It takes time to build up, and you need to really delve into your past and delve into who you are, and take a look at what you've done well and appreciate that.
Okay, so for the first time on the show, I'm going to respectfully disagree with you.
Okay. Great.
All right, so, and here's why. All right, so this is all related to transformation. And transformation can happen in the moment. It doesn't have to take long. It doesn't have to take 30 years like it has for me. And that's the beauty of our network and the show and many shows that we have on our network, that it shows everybody that when you are open and willing, and you more specifically are willing to look, this is so important, this sentence. If you have to be willing, you don't have to know the answer, you just have to be willing to look. And when we're willing to look, it can become clear in a moment. And what becomes clear is our values and who we are and why we came to this planet. What did we come here for? To share for the rest of the world. And usually in my experience with myself and with others, like I'm going to give you a good example of this, I was actually, in the beginning of my life, scared to death regarding public speaking. Matter of fact, I would rather die than to sit in front of a microphone and a television camera like I do now. Like if I did this when I was 18, I would rather choose death. Okay, so the reason I share this is because this is another, like a place to look for people, because what I'm finding is what we become a master of is what we resist most of our lives. And that's really who we are. So who I am is someone that just absolutely loves and enjoys media and sharing the conversation of consciousness, being awake, and being on the journey. That's who I am. Now, everybody has one of these where they know that they've been something that they have been resisting, and when you resist something for years and years and years, we become the master of the opposite of it. Do you have an example from your own life?
That when you mean like you, when you became the master of the microphone and the television, even though you didn't want to do it?
Well, not yeah, but look at from the place of who you are right now, who you are being, who you are, and what you do.
That's a good question. I find that the resisting is fascinating to me. Anything where we resist something in our lives, I believe that is something we should become a master of. I think that's why we're resisting it. It's an opportunity.
Yes, the pill.
I don't know if I've actually
always
mastered mine yet, Steve.
Oh yes, you have. So if you look back in your early childhood, you may find it very, very easily.
Yeah,
so,
I was a very, very shy child. Didn't want to speak
Okay.
out loud. Very shy, and I'm definitely not that anymore.
So you become the opposite, which is an extrovert. So
That's right.
So we, and this is something that I've been working on transforming as well. Not that there is anything wrong with this existence of duality, but I think as we become more and more conscious, we're starting to get bored with duality. At least I am. Yeah. and there's more to life than just taking the opposites of things and have them work against each other. It's like these energies, like black and white, are the opposite energies, and love and hate are the opposite energies, and we always pit them against each other. and that's good for entertainment. But I think when we when we're interested in living a happy life, it no longer serves the purpose, because pitting things against each other creates drama. Again, maybe good on television, but it's not going to make us happy in our life, right? So what I've been noticing is that these energies are the same energies of the same coin. So it's not like good or bad, the opposite energies, but they the same energies. Does that make sense?
It totally makes sense. I mean, you can't have one without the other.
Right. But here's what's interesting. Where I want to spend the rest of my life is on the third place of the coin. Not on one side, not on the other side, but on the rim.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Oh, it totally makes sense.
Okay.
I think that's a nice place to be, actually.
Yeah. It's a very happy place to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So I gotta keep checking how we're doing on time. So, are you offering anything right now, Driva?
Well, you know what?
In your practice?
I'm offering a free strategy session. So if anybody would be interested in a free strategy session where we would narrow down what they would want to do with their life, they'd get a clear and concise plan of what they want their life to look like. So we'd go into their goals, their values, and we'd go into what it is that's holding them back, what they're having trouble with, and come up with some good solutions that we can use in future coaching sessions to work through that. So in order to do that, they would have to go to my website, which is balancedmompreneur.com, and they could sign up for a free book there, which I have, 5 Secrets to Running Your Family and Business Like a Well-Oiled Machine. And then they can go to the coaching page and contact me there. And at the coaching page, they'll be able to see my 360-degree coaching program, as well as a short video clip, and learn more about the coaching. So the strategy session is totally free. It's no obligation. And then I offer coaching packages after that, which usually run around 3 months.
All right. Awesome. Fantastic. So I hope that a lot of people that are tuned in right now, we had well over 1,000 people viewing the show, that they'll take you up on your offer. And thank you for the absolute clarity that you speaking your message with, because I pay a lot of attention to clarity. It's like I'm committed myself to clarity, meaning that, again, and here are the opposites, clarity and confusion, right?
Yeah.
And so the ego thing is the confusion, manipulation, fear, and force. It's being used non-stop on television, on commercial television. So one of the things that I like to recommend to people is that if they're really looking to grow, they're really looking to become awake and conscious, one of the best things that they can do for themselves is cut way down on commercial television, because that's not going to assist you in terms of your happiness. It's going to assist you in being in drama.
I so agree with you. You feel so much better when you stop watching TV and you start doing things that heal your soul and make you feel better and allow you to grow.
Yeah.
Be quiet,
I mean, the media, the commercial media industry has certainly learned how to teach us how to shop. I think in America, we all have a master's degree in shopping. I mean, we've been brainwashed for most of our lives, right?
Exactly.
So if you want to turn that off, I mean, the only way, because our brain needs to be reprogrammed. It needs to be readjusted, right? Our mindset needs to be transformed, and it's not going to get transformed if we're going to give it the same food, right?
Not at all. And it's a process. It takes time.
And what are some of the other things that you would like to bring to the surface for the viewers in terms of similar things, like some tips, like watching less television. What else?
Oh, yeah, watching less television, taking time for yourself, meditation. It's really amazing what that will do. Positive affirmations, visualizing what you want, and listening to what you're thinking and actually checking yourself and changing the way you think by turning negative thoughts around and creating positive thoughts out of them. Because that really does make you feel better. And I know you had said too, you do a lot of positive thinking as well.
Well, I don't want to pat myself on the back for this one. This is just kind of a byproduct of what I do. But if you consider that for the last 9 years, I have produced well over 12,000 shows,
yeah.
And I was producing every one of them, which is going to change next year because we're growing. That's 12,000, more than 12,000 one-hour shows that are delivering positive messages. How many people do you know in your sphere of influence that you could say that they have listened to or have done that much in terms of helping themselves to grow with positive messages and affirmations? How many people do you know?
You know what? I don't think I actually know anyone. I can't think of anyone except for you, Steve. I can think of you.
Yeah, and the reason I brought this up this way, that yes, I did this in the last 9 years, and it did transform me, but it doesn't have to take 9 years.
Right.
There are all kinds of tools and modalities out there, including brain balancing, where people can actually balance their brain and heal their core issues from their childhood so that it's not in the way of doing what you do. For example, Jiva, you do coaching. In my opinion, it's very difficult to coach people where you, the coach, is swimming upstream with your client's core issues and distrust. It's a tough business to be in. I used to be a life coach and I quit because of that. I got just sick and tired of working with people for 6 months to a year and not getting anywhere because they weren't willing to give it up.
That's right. Sometimes they just don't want to give it up, and I think that perhaps those clients just aren't ready for coaching. But I do believe that there are a lot of people out there that are ready and willing to give it up, and those are the people that really succeed. They really get a lot out of it, and that's wonderful.
Yeah, and absolutely, those are the people you want to have as your clients. So we're ending the show. You've been absolutely fantastic. I loved every minute of it. How about you?
Thank you. Me too, Steve. Thank you. This is wonderful.
All right, awesome. So thank you for being on the network, and stay in touch with us because a lot of new things are coming next year with all of our changes to become the Conscious Evolution Media Network. So stay with us. Our next show is coming to you live, and it's by James McPartland with the Unopened Gift Show. So don't go away. We'll be right back. Thank you, Jiva.
Thank you very much.
Today's podcast is brought to you by ObesityHotline.com, the silent killer, providing support and encouragement in the prevention of this rising epidemic. Featuring the Body by Vi Challenge. Is there a quick answer to the question? Go to www.ObesityHotline.com. You're listening to Real Coaching Radio TV, building a positive network.